In this video, we're going to be covering the radio communications. The first thing is that what are the most common types of communication radio equipment installed in the general aviation aircraft. So the common radio equipment is basically gonna be the VHF, which is the very high frequency, and the range is 118 to 136.975 megahertz, and they are sometimes classified as 720 or 760 depending on the number of the channels they have. Okay, what is a universal VHF emergency frequency? We should definitely know that one. So the frequency is 121.5 megahertz. What happens is, like, this frequency is basically guarded by the military towers, a lot of the civil towers, FSS radar facilities. So if you are not able to, somehow you're not able to contact the tower, this is definitely a frequency we should give it a try. This is a universal emergency frequency. And what frequencies are used by the ground tower? Sorry, ground control. So normally they use 121.6 to 121.9 megahertz. Then what is CTAF? It stands for Common Traffic Advisory Frequency. It is a frequency designated for the purpose of carrying out airport advisory practices while operating to and from an airport without an operating and control tower. So if you don't have a control tower and you still want to have an advisory frequency, you can use a CTAF. And it can be like a Unicom, Multicom, FSS, or tower frequency. Okay, and what is this Unicom and what frequencies are designated for this its use? So Unicom is a non-government communication facility which may provide airport information at certain airports. Not every airport has it. So airports other than those with the control tower, uh, or like FSS on the airport, will normally use 122.7, 122.725, and those ones. So basically they have 122.700 to 123.075 megahertz. But the airports with a control tower or an FSS on the airport will normally use 122.950 for the Unicom. Okay, now the ATIS. We did talk about this one before, but over here, like, the what it stands for is the Automatic Terminal Information Service. So it is what it is like a continuous broadcast of recorded non-control information in selected high activity terminal areas. So basically its purpose is to improve the controller effectiveness and to relieve the frequency congestion by automating the repetitive transmission of essential but routine information. That's what the ATIS is used for. And if operating into an airport without an operating control tower or FSS or a Unicom, what procedure should be followed? So if you do not have a tower, mainly no tower, right? So Where there is no tower, FSS or Unicom station at the airport, use multicom frequency. And remember, the multicom frequency is 122.9. So all the airplanes which are uncontrolled airplanes, oh sorry, all the airports which are uncontrolled airports normally use the multicom frequency, which is 122.9. And for self-allowance procedure, so multicom is a mobile service not open to public use. So used to provide communication essential to conduct the activity being performed by or directed from the private aircraft. Okay, what frequencies are monitored by most FSS other than the 121? We know that 121 is the emergency, 121.5, right? So other than this one, what are other monitored ones? So the FSS and the supplemental weather service locations have assigned frequencies for their different functions. So, as an example, like the Alaska, certain FSSs provide local airport advisory on 123.6, and that's in Alaska, right? And other frequencies that can be found on the chart supplement, US. So if in doubt about that, you can use 122.2 megahertz. So that's another one. Now there's a term called RCO. What is it? So it's a remote communications outlet. It is an unmanned communications facility remotely controlled by ATC personnel, established for the purpose of providing ground to ground communications between ATC and pilots located at satellite airports. So, ATC may use the RCO to deliver en route clearances and departure authorization and to acknowledge IFR cancellations or departure landing times. Just gonna add. Okay, so how can a pilot determine what frequency is appropriate for activating his her VFR flight once airborne? So frequency for activating the flight plan, flight plan. So there are two ways. First of all, you can ask the FSS briefer during the pre-flight weather briefing that which frequency you should be using. And the other one is you need to consult the communication section under flight service for the airport of departure in the chart supplement US. So you can find the frequency over there. Okay, now we're going to be talking a little bit about these frequency, like on the sectional charts. We have this a heavy lined blue box. So what is the meaning of that heavy line blue box surrounding the NAVAID frequency? So remember that the heavy line blue box surrounding the NAVAID station date indicates uh, data indicates FSS frequencies. Uh, so basically, if you have a NAVAID and there's a heavy line blue box surrounding them, then it means that these frequencies like these are the FSS frequencies which you can use: 121.5, 122.2, 243. Again, some of them are military, 255.4. Some communication system may not even use those. Okay. Why would a frequency be printed on top of a heavy lined box? So if you have seen that NAVAID station, so sometimes like this. So why there is a frequency on top of the heavy lined over here? Why there is a frequency over there? So this usually means that this frequency is available in addition to the standard FSS frequencies. So if you have a heavy line blue box, it means that these frequencies are available. But if there is another frequency mentioned on top of that, that means other than these frequencies mentioned above, you can also use this one. I'm sorry about that. Okay, now what is the meaning of thin line blue box surrounding the NAVAID frequencies? So this is thin line blue box. So in if you don't have a heavy line blue box, thin line blue box means this plain box without frequencies on top indicates that there are no standard FSS frequencies available. So these NAVAIDs will have no voice symbol. Okay, what would a frequency be printed on top of a thin line blue box? Sorry, why would a frequency be printed on top of the thin line blue box? So if you have a thin line blue box and there is a frequency over there, these frequencies are the best frequencies to use in the immediate vicinity of the NAVAID site and will ensure reception by the controlling FSS at low altitudes without terrain interference. They will normally be followed by, if there is a frequency, they will normally be followed by a by an R, capital R, which indicates that FSS can receive only on that frequency. The pilot will listen for a response over a NAVAID frequency. A couple of more questions here. So how can a pilot determine the availability of high VOS? Whether or not it is availability of this high VOS when looking for at a VFR sectional chart. So NAVAIDs that have high VOS capability are depicted on the sectional chart with H in the upper right corner of the identification box. That's how you would know that the high VOS is available. And the last thing is like what meaning does the letter T in a solid blue circle appearing on the top right uh, uh, corner of the NAVAID frequency box have? So sometimes, and if you haven't flown in Alaska, you may not even have seen it. So NAVAIDs, uh, like this box, on the top, like the top right, you have a letter T in a solid blue circle, like this. So it's only in Alaska, and what it means is like it has a transcribed weather broadcast. So you have a transcribed weather broadcast available. So a T web is the continuous. This is also transcribed weather broadcast is also known as T-web. It is continuous recording of meteorological and aeronautical information that is broadcast uh, for the uh, for the pilots. Yeah, these were the things I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.